Hey guys, so welcome to the first video blog. I mean, I actually have posted a few videos already, but this is going to be, I'm now sort of getting a bit more serious about posting regularly on Steemit, and I'll have accompanying videos as well on a fairly regular basis. So I want to keep today fairly simple. I don't want to go into too much detail about all the reasons why I'm still quite bearish, but I mean, in the end, KISS. Keep it simple, silly. Look at this. On the monthly, we are, well, on the monthly is maybe not the best example because we have a high here and we have a low here. We don't actually have lower lower lows or lower highs. It's really all the way coming down. The monthly, of course, is a very, I mean, monthly time frame. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be a perma bull for years. But on the weekly time frame, of course, you can see low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, 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 high, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we had a little bit of an equilibrium here. Wow, that was really a boring few weeks, months actually, waiting for the big move to happen. Obviously, we had this critical 6K region, which we just smashed right through, and now we're facing some resistance over here, but on the weekly, well, this candle hasn't formed yet, so there's nothing much to say about that. I usually use EMAs. I think that you can also use moving averages, especially on these larger time frames, looking at the bigger picture of things. But overall, I don't focus too much on the EMAs. I think it's mostly just as a guideline. I mean, now obviously, we're below. I don't even have the 8 EMA here because, or the 13, because we're so far below all of them. We're below these two on all time frames. So it's clear that we're in a downtrend. The trend is your friend. If you want to make money, you generally want to trade in the direction of the trend. So if we wanted to trade in the direction of this trend, where would be a good entry? Well, now is not the best time to enter on the daily, for the simple reason that we have a long way up to go. So we had this peak over here. Sorry, let's do it like this. So our previous high really is over here, right? 6,600. You could call this a low. I don't really call it a low. I want it to be a bit more significant in terms of having like 2 or 3 candles going down and then 2 or 3 candles going up. Of course, it depends how you interpret it. I do have these pivot highs and pivot lows, which I sometimes use. And here they agree with me that, there simply are no pivot lows here. We're still, I mean, this will hopefully, hopefully this will likely turn into a pivot low. But for now, if the bulls want to rage, they could, in theory, go all the way up to there without any strong resistance. That being said, we did have some consolidation over here, and this price action, this volume, you will see also here most likely. Well, it's not the best example because it's comparing the volume here to the volume there, which was massive. But if we do something like this, that's odd. Well, in any case, let's just take that away for now. I'm not quite sure why actually the volume has slowed down here a lot. One of my things that I want to do is to really dig down deeper into some of the technical analysis tools which I use. I try to keep it to a minimum, and I focus mostly on price action. But for example, this, I'm not sure exactly how it's calculated. I just know that, that these bars represent the price, represent the volume at that price. But as I say, with price action, you can see so much already. So we have this consolidation here where there would be potentially some resistance going up. But really the bulls could go up pretty high if they wanted to. That being said, that being said, we're still in a downtrend, right? So, it still favors the bears, really. Now, what's happening here on the 4 hour? So obviously on the 4 hour, we have all these pivot lows and highs over here. And right now what I'm seeing is, a big bull run here, and a correction, very small correction. And now, so the question is, are the bulls really going to just push up all the way to the next level here? And I think that's pretty unlikely before seeing another little downturn. For the simple reason that, just think about it. Like, we've had this trend coming down, and now what? We come up here and we retrace just, let's see, just, barely to the 0.382. Sure, it's possible. And in bull runs, certainly, in a proper bull run, in a bull market, certainly that can happen. But I'm just guessing that, based on the fact that we're in a downtrending market, and that these bulls have come up pretty high over here, so many bullish candles in a row in a bear market, it feels like it's time to slow down. And I would say also it's time to slow down more than just this small pullback here. So what I'm looking at, my target if I were to short now, would be about the 4,000 region, so the 0.5 to the 0.618. And honestly, the first waves, if you're familiar with Elliott wave theory, the first waves often have like very, very big retracements, and we could very easily come down all the way to here. And if we just go with a risk reward, short position here. So as I mentioned before, for this portfolio, hypofolio, as I call it, we're only going to be trading on larger time frames. So it's unlikely I'll ever go below the 4-hour time frame. So what are we looking at here? Well, we're looking at notable resistance in this region over here, the whole 5,000, 4,000. Let's just put a rectangle there, shall we? I'm not a big fan of just having one trend line. I like to have a zone if possible, because technical analysis is not that exact of a science. It really isn't. So here in this zone, you can see that we reached a low. We have a low over there, a low over there. Okay, we have all these candles with their lows within this region. Same over here with highs. So certainly breaking through this barrier with a close would be very strong. So if I saw a 4-hour close above 4,500, yeah, it's probably going to be pretty good for the bulls. Now, yeah, so in other words, if we were to enter a short here, really we would want to be closing around this region. And what are we targeting? Well, as mentioned, if we just do a fib retracement, I mean, a conservative target, I think personally would be this 4,000 region. And the 4,000 region, let's just put it 4,050. Of course, this risk to reward ratio is really not that great. But this is kind of using the worst case scenario whereby, we only stop out when, we actually cross this region. A lot of other traders might actually stop out over here, the 4,450. I'm not a huge fan of that, because I just feel like we can easily get a spike, a wick going up and then coming down, and then it's just really frustrating. So I like to give a wide berth for my stop losses, and then manage the trade. I mean, actually, with this hypofolio, it will be difficult to manage the trade, because we won't be able to edit it, change the trades based on smaller time frames. But nonetheless, even on the 4-hour time frame, I think that this would be a solid stop loss, 4,550, if we were to enter here. So we would be aiming for the 0.5 fib. But of course, as first waves often correct down to the golden ratio over here, most impulse waves will correct to the golden ratio, but the first impulse waves will often come down to the 0.786. So this gives us a risk reward ratio of 1.35. Before making this video, I was pretty was pretty intent on shorting here. It seems like it might not be the best risk to reward ratio. That being said, you know, because we are expecting a bear market, because we are in a bear market, and I'm expecting on you know the larger time frames to still come down lower. I think that we can take the risk on this trade, just saying that it's a fairly high probability trade, or rather that, okay, we will stop out here, but sorry, I lost my train of thought. Now what we're going to do is this. We're going to enter the short here, and we are going to take profit here, but we're only going to take profit, or sorry, we're going to take profit in this region, depending on price action. But we're only going to take partial profit because we are still in a bear trend, okay? So we're going to take partial profit down here. And if we go up, well, we will reevaluate, but most likely we'll have a stop loss, as I mentioned, if we cross this region. And so what that means is that what we're saying is, okay, we're saying, okay, that we know that there's a fair chance that we will cross this 4,500K region and potentially get stopped out. But we are trending, we are making a trade based on longer time frames, you know, the daily, the weekly, which are in clear downtrends. And we will reevaluate as and when we get to reach this stop, this point, because the thing is that, you know, if we want to enter a short position here, sure, we can wait until, you know, we get a potential double top here, you know, at the 4450 region, and then have a top fishing play. But it's also very, very possible, and honestly, it's a bear market. It's more likely that we will just maybe see a little bit of consolidation and then come down, and then maybe we will, you know, bounce back here and go for a second impulse wave. But again, bear market, you know, so it's slightly more likely that we will actually just crash down even further. I mean, look at the 4-hour RSI now. There's a lot of space for it to come down. And RSI theory basically says that if we reach, that to be in a bullish zone, we need to be between the 40 and 60. We need to be, we touch down on the 40, but anything between 40 and 100 is bullish, and anything between 0 and 60 is still bearish. So, you know, we reached 60, so that's a pretty, you know, notable point to top out on the RSI. And sure, we could, well, anyway, I said I wasn't going to go into too much detail. Unfortunately, I have. But the summary is that, yes, we're going to enter a short here, but just a small position short, and we're going to manage that as the time goes by. And if we reach this point, you know, I said we would stop loss out. Since it's such a small short, we may even just hold it and just short more over here. But for now, yeah, the conclusion is we're entering a small short, and we'll reevaluate as time goes by. That's it for me. Oops.